Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And down in San Diego is my good friend and co-host, Dennis Bethalkis. How are you, Dennis?
I'm doing all right there, Schwanzkopf.
Schwanzkopf. So I just put that into, by the way, we're here covering Preacher, Season 3, Episode 9, Schwanzkopf, which or Schwanzkopf. It's I put it to Google Translator and it said swan head, but it's actually dickhead.
It's dickhead, yes.
It's dickhead. And before we even get started, spoiler warning. We are going to spoil the crap out of the episode, break it down bit by bit, morsel by morsel, and let you know if we liked it or not. And then more importantly, we get to you in the chat and we find out if you liked it or not. And fully interactive review. And by the way, courtesy of Viking Bitch, please check out her channel. She's amazing. She's amazing.
So if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it, or you can come back and watch this when it's a video. Or if you just like to hear us talk, you can always stick around and do that as well.
That's right. Greetings to all of our wonderful live viewers in the chat and to all of our viewers who are watching this as a video. Probably not safe for work, but you never know. You never know. And thank you for the $1.99 super chat. 500 plus shows, 5,000 subs. Gary and Dennis, you rock, cool nerds.
Thank you, Movie
Finobi. You rock too. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I never get used to getting the super chats. It's still weird. It's still weird. Yes, we just hit 5,000 subscribers. Very grateful for that, and welcome to all our new subs. We will try not to let you down. You'll get very average content, but above average chat. Okay,
exactly.
So, yeah, there you go.
So on Friday nights, it gets just a little weird. That's all.
It got really weird last Friday night. Go back and watch that Friday night show, folks. That was one for the ages. That was pretty funny. Susan was a crack up, our co-host. She was funny as hell.
And the butt chugging comments.
Just, and of course, a little guest called Doomcock.
Yeah. And some singing too.
Oh yeah.
Some karaoke night.
I'm gonna isolate some of that and put it out.
Mako says, who wouldn't like some dickhead come Sunday night?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's
if you're into that.
Yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, bless your heart. Have some fun. We don't judge here, okay?
Exactly.
Well, we do, but I mean, not too harshly. Not anybody in the chat.
Just TV shows. That's all we judge.
Shows and certain entertainers.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, we're gonna start off here. We start off with Humperdoo, the non-clone Humperdoo. Inside his little booth, and he gets injected with the Tom Brady mixture because he's getting ready to have Genesis put inside of him.
And it's not Tom Brady, the quarterback.
Nope.
It's a mixture of Thomas Jefferson and Wayne Brady. The perfect mixture of good and evil.
Yes. And Wayne Brady, yes, is the evil.
Yes.
We've all decided that Wayne Brady is the evil. So Jesse ends up, he knows he's going to die. And so he gives up Hair Star and says, hey, I've got a gun in my pocket. Is what he tells the Allfather. And he says, Hair Star, put it there. And the Allfather's like, okay, so why are you giving this up now?
He also says, Hair Star is going to know my ass like few men have my buttocks.
Yeah, like few men have ever known it.
Yes.
Which I thought kind of disturbing at the same time.
Oh, that's just the beginning.
Yeah. And so Jesse says, all he wants is he wants to be able to die on his knees. That's what he says.
As a Christian. Yeah.
As a Christian, yeah. So the Allfather, of course, unlocks him. And Jesse bumps into him as he comes out of the the little holding thing. And we find out that as the Allfather is about to shock him, because he's got this little bolt that's on his neck that was used to shock him, he's actually switched the bolt over to the Allfather.
Yep.
So that when the Allfather hits it, he shocks himself. And Jesse gets the gun, shoots the guards. Oh, excuse me. And ends up fighting with the Allfather. And they start, basically the Allfather lands on top of him, on top of the desk, and crushes the desk with Jesse underneath him,
bringing him down. His puke urn.
Yeah, knocks over the puke urn. Jesse gets the gun, shoots him a couple times because he's so fat, he has to shoot him in the head. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. And he ends up getting the mixture, the failed mixture that the doctor had thrown in his vomit there. And he injects All Father with that. And then he switches the electrode onto himself, hits the button, and of course, Genesis goes into the All Father. All Father starts, weeping with joy about, how lovely it is just before he explodes.
Yep. And he explodes everywhere.
Yes.
And that's again just the beginning. Just the beginning. And that's where we get the credits. Right after the All Father blows up. So
and of course Genesis goes right back into Jesse again. So he's Featherstone standing outside waiting for the bus to hell, singing "Onward, Christian Soldier," when Sydney just can't take any more of it and pulls out her whip and wraps it around her throat and tells her to shut up. No more singing. And the bus shows up, and so does Tulip. And Tulip says, "Hey, you have my briefcase, bitch. I need my briefcase back." And she gets the briefcase back from Sydney, because Sydney, first of all, tells her who she's dealing with. And that she's actually the angel of death. We finally get confirmation.
Indeed. Yes. Azrael, the angel of death. And, the whole time Featherstone, she can't say that that's Tulip because she's got that whip around her neck. So she's choking the whole time.
Yeah. And so she ends up getting the briefcase back. Tulip gets the briefcase back. Excuse me. I had a little gnat there. And she gets it back and starts to walk away. And Featherstone is getting dragged into the bus to hell. And of course, Tulip can't leave well enough alone. She has to go back and try and save Featherstone. And that's when Eugene opens his mouth and starts banging on the window saying, "Tulip, Tulip, hey, you came for me."
O'Hare, yep.
Yeah. And that's when Sydney's like, that you're the real Tulip. And Tulip makes a run for it, trying to go back to Jesse. Of course, Sydney has her whip, grabs her. Tulip loses the briefcase, and Jody just comes up, picks it up, and walks away.
Says goodbye, Tulip.
Yep.
Nice knowing you. See you. Out. And and Tulip gets taken away. Now I thought Featherstone was going to be on the bus as well.
I did too, but we find out later on what happened to her.
Yeah.
So Icarius is trying to justify what he does to Cassidy, and Cassidy's like, "No, you're just using them as drugs. Those vampire people." He goes, "It's no different than drugs. They have names," and he threatens to expose them to the group, and Icarius ends up fighting with him.
Well, Icarius first, tries to plead with him. He's like, "Listen, this is no different than what you do, and you're so close to happiness," which is kind of true. I mean, they're vampires, if you want to look at it from Icarius's point of view. And Cassidy's like, this was kind of a big moment for him when he said, "I'd rather be sad." Because honestly, that's where Cassidy lives, and that's a good place for him. And we don't know if we want a happy Cassidy, but this is also Cassidy's growing appreciation for his friends. He's alone right now, which is all messed up. And Cassidy, trying to do the right thing, gets fucked over.
Yeah, and Icarius ends up fighting him, puts him back into his coffin, and basically tells Cassidy that he's going to end up paying for this.
Cassidy just says, "Kill me now. Just do it, please." Yeah. No. It's going to be way worse.
Yeah, it's going to be way worse. And he punches him out, knocks him out. So Star comes in with his donuts. With body parts strewn all over the room, and he's impressed by, he's admiring Jesse's work.
Mission accomplished.
Yes. And we see the rectum of the Allfather hanging there from the ceiling, and out of the rectum comes Jesse's soul.
It's hanging there perfectly, kind of. And we hear a little fart squeeze out. Jesse's soul gets squeezed out, and then they start fighting all over the body parts of the Allfather. It looks like they did get like some sausages. I don't know what the hell they were using, but it actually, there was so much of it kind of stopped being gross.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with Hair Star having the white suit on, and just oh my god,
really, exactly.
I did love the backward white Kangol hat that he had on to cover his dickhead scar. Yeah, it was kind of funny. So of course Jesse ends up coming away with the soul, swallows it, and tells Hair Star to stop. He finally gets the voice of God back into him.
So he's got Genesis back fully, and just in time.
Yeah. And Star tells him about the coming apocalypse, and that he needs him to be the Messiah. Otherwise, they have to do with Humperdoo.
And we get to see a little video
Yes.
of what the Grail has planned, which is pretty funny. It just shows nuclear war. They're gonna basically kill everybody, and then they point out some individuals. Of course they've got the Jews and the Hindus, hippies, hipsters.
Well, no. As Hair Star said, Hair Star says, yeah, he wanted to kill everybody. The All Father.
The Allfather wanted to kill everybody, but in the video they pointed out a few groups.
Thank you, Dakota Stanton, for the $5. Says, if I don't make it home in time, may the small folks speak of your greatness. Schwanzkopf. Yes. Thank you, by the way, Dakota. So yeah, and Star basically says, oh no, the Allfather's plan. He goes, he was a maniac. He goes, I don't want that. He goes, I just want to get rid of the few of the undesirables, the hipsters, the trade unionists, the
Presbyterians, the Danes.
And that's when Jesse's like, you're just as crazy as the Allfather is. He goes, we can't do any of that. And he goes, I'm not going to let you do this. So he says he's not going to be the Messiah. And he also says he's going to go and kill Humperdoo as well. And Star's like, there's no way. You're not a killer.
You're not looking around the room. Looking around, he's on not that kind of killer.
Yeah.
I've read your file. And yeah, he grabs the gun and he's going to go and off Humperdoo.
Yeah. Thank you, Feisty Fan, for the $4.99. She says, grats on the 5K. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dakota, as well.
So
too nice.
Tulip, we go back to the bus, and Tulip is trying to escape the bus. And she's talking, we see her kind of break a little piece of the metal and it comes flying off there. And the Santa Killers gets up, and we think he's seen this, but he hasn't. He just gets up and walks to the front of the bus where the Angel of Death is sitting.
I think he's seeing it.
I do too.
He's questioning things.
Yeah.
And when he goes up and sits down next to Sid, she's all, how's your back?
Yeah. Hitler, of course, offers to help. And Eugene's like, we don't want your help. He goes, I wasn't talking to you. I'm offering it to the lady.
To the lady. I love I can't show, but I watch everything in closed captions. And when Hitler says, I don't like this, it spells this ZIS.
Nice.
Yes. Nice touch there, closed captions.
Oh man. So yeah, we go back to Featherstone and we find Featherstone is riding with Jody in the car and in the truck.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, and she says, oh, so she's going to eat these souls. What happens then? And just as Jody's about to answer, something hits their car. We don't know exactly what it is.
Oh, it had to be a goat. There's been a lot of goat abuse.
Yeah. And it punches through the radiator, of course. And Featherstone's like, you know what? You're on your own. You've got your souls. My work here is done with the Grail. Hairstar doesn't do well on his own without me for long periods of time. So I got to go back.
That's kind of true.
Yeah. He does kind of mess things up a little bit here and there. So Cassidy he wakes up in his coffin and tries to sneak out and warn the group, the children of blood, what Icarius is all about. And they don't believe him because Icarius has told them that he killed Hoover.
Yeah. Yep. They framed him, and that's pretty clever. And
yeah,
he just points out, like, are you going to believe? Yeah, Cassidy's like, you guys got to go. You're not going to fly. And Curious just says, like, are you going to believe him? He came in. What did he call you again? Idiots.
Yeah, idiots, posers, losers. And he goes, yeah, I had some harsh words when I first came in, but so one of the guys tries to attack him and he throws him across the room and he goes, see, there's only one maniac here is what Icarius says. That's him. And so Icarius says he needs to be made an example of. And he grabs Cassidy at this point. So we go back to the bus and Tulip opens the bottom of the bus. She's, finally wiggled away out to get one of the access panels open on the bottom there. And Hitler's trying to figure out where the hell Rick is. His friend Rick
at the end of the last episode. Yeah.
Yeah. And his SS shock troops, as he says.
Yes.
And Sydney, in the meantime, is telling the Saint of Killers that Eugene and Tulip both are alive. They're not dead. Because the Saint of Killers was asking her where the preacher was. Was the preacher with her when she died? And he says, no, she's still alive.
Yeah.
So is Gene.
There's no rules. God's gone. You know?
There's no rules. God's gone. And the Saint of Killers starts, he gets a look on his face.
You see his wheels spinning a little bit.
Yeah.
And remember that his guns, which he does not have right now, are hidden away.
Yes.
So
yeah. And in the meantime, Tulip says what she's going to do is drop the chains down into the drive shaft. And you can explain this a lot better than I can, Gary.
Well, they just okay. So there's the differential, right? And there's the axle. There's the U joint. And they're going to lock up the axle so that would the bus would probably flip as fast as they were going if it locks up the diff. But unfortunately, that does not happen. I really like how they explain that, though. I like the little pictures they have. They show the U joint and the axles.
Yeah, they had little animated pictures that were like chalk drawings. They took a little cue from Legion on this one. Someone's obviously been watching Legion.
Yes, they did. And that was really cool. The ones that did later are much better. I actually drew one of myself, but yes. Well, no, I can't add to anything. Whoever wrote the episode knew what they were talking about. I mean, it's pretty simple stuff, but
yeah. And so she drops the chains down there. They do wrap around the axle for a second, and they slide right off.
They slide right off, which is exactly what would happen. So
it doesn't happen in the movies all the time. So.
No, especially on a bus.
Yeah. So Tulip goes to plan B and she just starts walking up to the front of the bus.
I love the little when they showed the picture of the bus and it says hell on side.
Oh, I liked inside of the bus too. At the very front, they have a lighted pathway from NOLA to hell. And so you have the lights that were going, your distance.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty funny as well. That there's a direct bus line from NOLA to hell. So Jesse goes in to go kill Humperdoo. And of course, he stops some guards. He tells them to freeze. And he's got the gun. He's got it pointed at Humperdoo's head. And Humperdoo seems kind of amused by it. And he actually looks into Humperdoo's eyes and sees the explosion.
Sees the mushroom clouds in his eyes. And but Humperdoo's all, whoa. The guy playing Humperdoo is hilarious.
Yeah.
And he kind of leans into the gun. He's all,
yeah.
He looks entertained by it. But then all of a sudden, you hear a bunch of noises in the background. You hear more Humperdoo. I don't know if you were listening. I was listening on headphones. Yeah. So in the background, all you hear is shiny.
Yeah, I heard all these.
Ooh, shiny.
Yeah. And so that's when Jesse gets the idea. He strips Humperdoo and puts on the jumpsuit that all the other clones had, because that was the only thing telling them apart from the clone. You got to remember this. This Humperdoo has the Tom Brady mixture shot into him. So at any point in time, he could get the word of God or Genesis put into him from Jesse if they get him again. So he dresses him in a jumpsuit and he releases all the Humperdoo. He
into the wild. And one immediately gets splattered by a car. But I guarantee you that the Humperdoo with the Tom Brady mixture is still out there and he's going to manage to be okay somehow.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he will as well. Mm-hmm. And it just, oh my god, it just made me laugh.
That was so funny. Yeah, it's that's with the song, and they're going, and all the Humperdoos going down the escalators, and they're just,
yeah, and people just confused by them coming out. But so Jesse goes in. He has the last of the Tom Brady mixture, and he tells Hairstar he's not going to be his Messiah. He destroys the last of the Tom Brady mixture, and orders Star not to wear hats ever again, and leaves.
No more hats.
Yeah, no more hats. Icarius, in the meantime, ends up nailing Cass's hands to the table, to a pool table with tent spikes, and crucifies him essentially on this pool table. They sit him upright, and he says, "Open the drapes." And they open the drapes, and of course, the sun is in front of Cassidy, not on him. And Cassidy's like, "Well, that's kind of embarrassing, huh?" And he goes, "No, we're going to wait for the sun to move to Cassidy."
Yeah, we're gonna give you time to reflect and think about this stuff.
Yeah, I've got stuff I've got to do.
And then Grandma goes, "I'll make lasagna."
Yeah, I'll make lasagna while we wait.
Lasagna while you wait.
And Tulip decides that she's going to go to the front of the bus and confront her problems head on. Probably not the best idea. And we go back to Hairstar again. He's trying on wigs at this point. Yes. That's the only thing he can wear. And Hoover's with them at this point, and Hoover's like, I'd like to declare my lifestyle change. I'm now a vampire.
Well, but it will not hurt my professionalism or dedication to the job. And I think that wig's on backwards. Of course, it wasn't.
Which, if you notice that that wig that he was trying on, the one that he thought was backwards, was Featherstone's
haircut. That was funny.
Yeah, I loved how they pulled back and you see Featherstone standing right next to him, and I just started laughing because it was.
Yep, she's got
it was so well done.
Cankerous look on her face. Well, she always kind of does with a busted nose.
Oh man, and so Tulip ends up provoking the Saint of Killers by calling him an errand boy because it must suck for you, huh, to become an errand boy.
Saint's errand boy, and then she apologized. And then, well, I mean, Eugene's like telling her some stupid story first about like, oh, we should get a bomb and like put it to the side, and that you should make a bomb. Well, because he knows that she can do pretty much anything. She's like, I'm gonna go make a bomb. Provokes the Saint of Killers, calls him errand boy, and then apologizes and calls him an errand bitch.
Yeah,
and he slaps her, and she busts her head, and it cracks the window, which is what they needed to do.
Yep.
So clever Tulip, and I kind of like how Tulip's not completely pissed at Eugene for getting her into that, for blowing her cover. I thought that was cool. It's nice to see a connection from the town from season 1, which seems so long ago.
Yeah, I know, really.
Yeah.
So we go back to Cassidy, and Mima is cleaning up everything down there, and she ends up talking to Cassidy about how he's a dirty vampire and deserves to die, and she hates having to clean up after all the kids. She thinks that, if they're going to become vampires, they should learn to clean up after themselves and all this stuff. And he convinces her to give him a drink of the rock star kind of stuff, or energy drink or something like that. And he asked her for one small act of kindness to call Lisa in Poland.
Yeah. She looks up. She's all, they all looked up to you. They thought you were cool. Too bad you turned out to be such a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So he doesn't ask to be let down or anything. He's just all, would you call, do one last kindness for a vampire and call Lisa in Poland, tell her I'm sorry. Which was pretty clever. Cassidy,
yes.
If it works.
I think so too. So Tulip is making plans to jump from the bus. She basically with Cassidy with Eugene and Hitler, and they're going to break the window open and jump from the bus. And she's telling Eugene, how to roll, how to tuck. Don't use your hands to break your fall, otherwise you're going to break your arms and all this stuff. And Hitler's like, screw this. He gets up, jumps onto the that little handlebar on the top there, cracks open the window, and says, "Auf Wiedersehen, bitches."
Yep.
And just as he's about to jump out the window, there's an explosion on the side of the bus, and we see the bus flip over. And everyone inside in slow motion, kind of rotating around with it.
Yes,
I love the
nice little musical.
drawings.
Yes, the drawings before the little. I heard my horrible notes. There's a little arse face drawing. I love the little thing, how they made his freaking mouth. It's so funny. Yes, I love right before that. Like Hilter is like, oh, it's just like 1918, all stabbed in the back again.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the little exploding bus, and it was a funny little scene seeing, the Angel of Death and Saint of Killers all floating.
Yeah, and so Saint of Killers and Sydney get knocked out. Everyone pretty much gets knocked out, and Tulip's dazed. And she sees out the front window, she sees a tank with a swastika.
Tank. So mind you, Hilter's had 4 months to get all this together, and he has a tank. He has the shock troopers.
We see 3 guys looking down.
Shop.
Yeah. We see 3 guys looking down at him or at her through the broken window because she's laying down on the side there. And that's all we get from her. In the meantime, we get TC bringing Grandma her tea and talking to her about Jody and Jesse haven't come back yet. And Grandma says, "Oh no, Jesse's going to come back because he's going to come back to kill me."
Yeah.
And just then we see Jesse arriving in Angelville right at the gates. He's caught a ride, if you will.
Yeah. He's got Genesis in tow, caught a ride with some firefighters, told him to get back to work.
Yep.
And that's where it ends. So it's all set up for the finale, which hopefully this won't be it for this show. It has gotten so much better. It's really rallied. This has been a great season. This was a great episode. And just to give you guys a little hope out there, and AMC doesn't do the crazy crap that sci-fi does. All right, they really think about downloads and streams and DVR and all that. So I just want to share real quick the ratings. They've gone up over the season. Very unusual for a TV show. Okay. But if you notice, last week's episode was the most the week before last was the most watched episode of the season. Now, when they opened up Preacher, it was up against Westworld. So that was really strange to not wait an extra week, but it looks like it's paid off in the end. And the ratings are pretty. Now the 18 to 49 demos still kind of low, but if you look over to the viewers in millions, they almost like last week was almost last week actually was lower in the 1849, but higher is in overall viewers. So they almost got 1 million viewers, and that's just the overnights. So that's really good. I think it will get a 4th season. I think it will.
I'm hoping so. Yeah, and I finally found out what that Don't Watch Preacher campaign was all about. They had a commercial for it, which they hadn't advertised anyplace else. I saw it on Hulu of all places. And they said, if you're triggered easily by drug use, they had all these different things. If you're triggered by this, don't watch Preacher. That's what the whole thing was about. It was a nice campaign, but I only saw it one time, and it was on Hulu of all places.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird thing.
It was encouraging seeing them at Comic-Con. I mean, we didn't get to see the panel, but the fact that they were there, I think, was very encouraging. So if you're a fan of the show, I mean, don't make a secret of it. Like, talk about it all the time and show your love. Show your love. I know you're asked that a lot from TV shows, but it really does help. They pay attention to that stuff now. At least AMC does. I can't speak for everybody else, but
yeah.
It's a damn good show with a damn good cast. And it's better. It's better than I thought it would ever be, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not. Listen, it's not. It's similar to the comic, but it's not like the comic's the best. You got to read the comic. That is one of the best comics ever written. So
I mean, come on, you had a disembodied asshole, farting out a little tiny piece of someone's soul.
I don't know if that's a sell job on it. I would say more like they've got Tulip. No, you're not. But they just have Tulip. I'll just sell it on Tulip. She's fucking awesome. Ruth Negga plays Tulip so well. The Saint of Killers is done perfectly. Yeah, and I mean, to make it worse, you have a show that has dangling colons or buttholes, and Hitler and Angel of Death, Satan. Vampires,
and God in a dog suit that likes to get
sadomasochistic
things up his
yes,
for money.
Yeah, and a guy named Arseface. So let's get to the chat on that note. And it's funny. It's
in a town blown up by cow shit.
Yes, which was kind of shocking, but
yes.
Not. All right, let's get to the wonderful chat.
Yeah, we'll get to the chat here.
And let's not forget that tonight's episode was Dickhead. So
Dickhead, exactly. So I'm looking through here. Mary Ashby says, yeah, I like this episode. They keep getting better. Yeah, next week is it. It's the final chapter for this season.
Next week is it. And again, I will highly recommend you all go to your local comic store if you have one in your town or your city. Please support your local comic stores. Okay. We're losing too many of them. And give them a few bucks and get the Preacher graphic novel. And you will not go wrong. It's great art by Steve Dillon, the late great Steve Dillon. He just passed away maybe a little over a year ago. Garth Ennis, one of the greatest comic book writers in history. And it's wonderful. And it was produced by Vertigo Comics from DC Comics. Now, Vertigo was kind of like an alternative brand. And during its time, they were making some of the best comics out there, and they helped change the landscape of comics. So, and this was part of it. This story was part of it. It had an ending. It went, I believe 77 issues. I can't remember, or was that Sandman? Something in that neighborhood. And one of the best endings to a comic book ever. Ever.
So Rough Girl says, poor Cass, I want to get saved. I think I want him to get saved, I think is what that was.
Yeah. Me too. Poor Cass is all alone. But maybe he'll be doing saving.
Some
maybe
saving. Yeah, I think he's going to do some saving. Yeah.
I think he's going to like get out of this and go dust his pants off and go, I like my friends. Yeah. I'm going to go help.
We're going to get some crack.
Yeah, we're going to get some crack and an umbrella. So.
Yeah. Horror Chick 84 says this episode felt the most like Garth Ennis's comic to me. I'm hoping that the show gets renewed because I have a lot of confidence in what they will do. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a great point. It really did. It really did. I mean, right there with the whole, getting gross, and that's what Garth Ennis does.
Exactly.
And he's the best at it, and he makes it fun. I know that sounds weird, but he makes it fun.
The grotesque, the fun side of grotesque.
The fun side of grotesque. It's when Ash versus Evil Dead was like the TV show was doing things perfectly. It was just like that. It felt a little bit like that.
Will Coy says really funny episode. Yes, this was actually a good episode. Mako, every episode of the season has been fantastic. It started off slow. It did start off slow. The first 2 episodes, we were kind of wondering about it, and then it picked up by episode 3.
It really got itself going. I didn't hate the episodes at all. I liked them, but I wasn't sure where they were going, and I was still feeling a little put off by some parts of season 2. Mm-hmm. But I have to agree, they've all been really good. I can't wait to go back and binge this one.
Yeah. Rough Girl is talking to Horror Chick, says I've been trying to order the comic but didn't want to start from the beginning.
Yeah, you got it's daunting, but it's worth it. It's a quick read. It really is. I mean, it's I'm sure you can find a used graphic novel on Amazon if price is an issue, or go to a comic store. And the great thing about comic stores, you can go in there and wheel and deal. You can go in there and go, could you give me 10% off of that? Like usually they will if you're nice, if you ask nicely. Don't demand it. But they're not a book chain, or find it somewhere to read and then buy the rest at the comic store. But yeah, it's start with going to Texas and
it's a road trip.
It's great, and again, the art is wonderful. It really fits the story perfectly.
Tarka Jetta says, who is worse, Hilter or Hitler?
I don't know. We got to see how it ends. Hilter could be worse because he was in a sandwich shop for 4 months and got a tank
in a group of people
with like
together.
No money. Yeah. I love when Tulip asked him for his button to do something and he's all, but I earned this.
Yeah. Mary Ashmead says, I really thought it just kept getting better and better this season. Yes, it did.
So glad we didn't see a bunch of grandma this episode, but I liked the background. Yes, Rough Girl. We needed to like pump the brakes on grandma a little bit, and the biggest difference from last season and this season is in the tempo. It's been because they really ground to a halt a couple times last season, and they've really just kept things moving. So
moving the story around, not keeping it in one place, like keeping it in Dennis's apartment. That was wrong last season, and they didn't keep it in Angelville.
That's what Garth Ennis understands, especially in comics. You have to do this, even though you have, say, a Batman. Batman would get really, really boring if there wasn't a Joker or a Penguin or a Catwoman or Batgirl or Robin. I mean, like, it's all about the characters. I mean, what made Buffy great was the cast of characters, the Scoobies. And Preacher has the biggest group of freaking Scoobies ever. You've seen just a tip of the iceberg in this TV series of how many characters there are in Preacher. It's insane.
Will Coy, thank you for the $1.99.
Thank you.
Mako says sliding things in your ass is okay if it's for money.
Yes, we don't judge here. I mean, everybody's got to make a living. Will Coy, thank you for the $1.99. Really appreciate that. Yeah, thanks again. Did we get Feisties? $4.99?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Sorry. Thanks, Feisty.
Silhouetted Animator says, I'm surprised with what they got away with in this episode.
Right?
Yeah. Well, it's, I think they had to really whittle down the sphincter to it was almost recognizable until you heard the fart and what came out and what they said where he had hidden it to begin with. And I think that's how they got away with it, is by putting it in 2 different episodes, by mentioning it in one episode, then showing it in the other episode. So I'm pretty sure that's how they got away with it.
Did we miss your super chat, Mary? I'm going there right now. Okay. Oh, yes. Thank you, Mary Ashmead, for $2. I'm sorry you had to remind us. My apologies. Oh. Yay for Jesse. Yay for the Allfather blowing up. Yes. That was a great the openings have been spectacular this year. I love how they do that. Their little preacher logo and stuff. It's fun.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mary. Thank you.
Silhouetted Animator says, I look at it this way. If it was exactly like the comics, it would be predictable and take away from what made the comic special. Exactly. I like that it's switched up a bit.
I absolutely agree with that. And that's that. Listen, there is some stuff out there that does it frame for. A great example, to bore you with the story, is when Sin City came out. The hype for Sin City was insane. We were selling so many Sin City graphic novels. It was kind of like printing money. I mean, it was insane how many people were into that movie and were buying graphic novels. And then the minute the movie came out, the sales stopped dead because you saw the graphic novel in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, essentially, it was almost word for word. It was almost too perfect. And it hurt the graphic novel sales. And I could make that argument for Watchmen too, even though it wasn't perfect frame for frame because they changed the ending. But the Watchmen was our best-selling trade forever. And then the movie came out and people just stopped buying it.
Yep.
It was weird. We would sell like clockwork 5 or 6 a week, and the sales went to 0. It was weird. Yeah. So you don't want to know. That's why we have 2 different mediums here. We want them to be different. We want them to capture the spirit of the comic, which this, especially tonight's show, you did.
Sorry, I was just
come on.
I was reading Silhouetted Animator said, thankfully no grandma feet in this episode.
Oh God, yes, thank you. I was talking to Doomcock about this, and I agree with them slightly. Is Dominic Cooper's Jesse is not like the Jesse in the comic. The Jesse in the comic is just a lot different. But I still like it. I like Dominic Cooper. I still think
I like
take over. I think he should take over Iron Man from
Robert Downey Jr.
Yep,
I can see that. Yeah. Rough Girl says this episode had me cracking up. Yeah, I mean, it was good. I'm coming near the end here.
Will the show move from New Orleans? And if so, where could season 5 take place? I think they would, Will. The reason people are going to New Orleans and shooting right now is once in a while, a city will like lower its fees and stuff and like entice people to come out and to help rebuild the community. They'll entice people to come out and film there, and they're like, listen, we'll waive all our licenses or the taxes and stuff like that. San Francisco does that like every 10 years. That's why you've seen lately a lot of stuff filmed in San Francisco. And I think New Orleans did that. So we might, Atlanta's doing it right now. So I think that would be my best guess to where they go. They either go there or back to Texas, maybe. It depends on there's a lot of places they can go in the book. But as far as like where they're actually going to shoot and where, or probably Canada, who knows? But they shoot everything in Canada. But
it's going to be Texas.
Preacher wouldn't work in Canada. It's too. Preacher's got to be. They've gone to a lot of places. They've gone to San Francisco. They can go to San Francisco. I mean, they kind of roll past that story a little bit, but they can come back and do it. With something else. They've changed enough. Who knows? Yeah. That'd be cool. They filmed it here.
I think they're going to go back to Texas because Texas right now is doing a whole big push on that as well. For film industry at the moment.
Yep.
Horror Chick 84 says I did the exact same as the comic. If they did the exact same as the comic, people wouldn't like it because they would call it a copycat. I think if you keep the message true to what you're adapting, you're making a faithful adaptation. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you honestly don't want, like Gary just said, you don't want to do a frame for frame version of the comic because everyone's already read that. They want to see something that's in the spirit of the comic, but not exactly the same as the comic.
Yeah, we want to see something different, Yeah. Honestly, what's hurt the superhero comics is the movies. The MCs, particularly Marvel, well, only in Marvel, have been so much better than the actual books, and I think that plays into lower comic book sales, along with like really bad art and storytelling. Mary loves Batman. We all love the Batman here. Nothing against the Batman, except for if he starts killing, which Tom King, that whole Tom King nonsense. I won't bore you with comic stuff here.
Horichuk84 says, I'm Canadian, so I would just like the preacher being there because it's of my own patriotism.
Awesome. There you go. Canada's awesome. You were just there.
I was back in November. Yes. Yeah. Silhouetted Animator says Avengers Assembled had an episode where Peggy Carter and Howard Stark came to the present to meet Cap and Iron Man. The animated.
Yeah, okay. The newer one. Yeah, I did not know that. I did not know that. Good night, Movie Fanobi. Yeah, we're going to be wrapping up here. Oh, we can go for a little while longer. We can go for like a few minutes.
We're near the end of the chat here too. Yeah. So Mako says Batman doesn't kill, he just breaks the bones, spines, and necks and lets them die slowly and painfully in the hospital.
Yes, which is so merciful, Mako. No, there's a lot of controversy around Batman right now. It's because of the writer, the current writer of the comic book.
Oh, Tom King.
Yeah, talking about the possibility of him being an atheist, which is just silly in the DC universe because there's gods. There's actual gods running around, but if he wants to be stubborn, I guess. Yeah. We haven't heard anything official about it being renewed. I believe we should be hearing something soon.
Yeah, we usually hear it after the last episode of the season, and it's usually within about a month or two.
Yeah, Bad Bunny's still in there. They you might know. Yeah, he's pretty dialed in on that stuff. I might as well pump the nooner today. So the nooner is going to be early. If you're watching this as live, if you're watching it as a video, I do every Monday at about 10:30. I do a live stream. Pacific time. Yes, thank you. This Monday it's going to be earlier. It's going to be at 9:30 because I have a very important meeting tomorrow that I cannot miss. So early tomorrow, and then we're going to talk about 5,000 subs, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be one of those boring, fun ones where I'm not bitching about something for 2 hours.
My God, you haven't done one of those in a long time.
I know. Well, hey, but the clicks say different. The clicks have been good on those. Well, unless Star Trek comes out with something. I actually do have a Star Trek video to make. I'll probably cut that tonight. I found an article that nobody's been talking about that. Sorry. Preacher's good. Yes, 5,000, baby, Ruff. I was so happy we did that. I cannot believe it. You guys are great, especially for putting up with us. But we know why they're really here. It's for the chat. The chat is the best.
Horror Chick 84, we did look at the Titans trailer. It was back on one of our Friday night videos, and we both didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I don't like it. Yeah. I want it to be good. The Teen Titans is my favorite DC comic, and I want Doom Patrol to be good. I want Swamp Thing to be good. I want it all to be good, but man, Teen Titans didn't look good. But they have time to fix it. They probably hurt. Well, if you look at the dislikes on that video, they're not as bad as the ratio of the Star Wars Resistance one, but yeah. All right, we're gonna the new Gifted is supposed to be good. Yeah, Rough Girl. The rumor is the Gifted did a nice course correction, and they're going to get very superhero on us. So I'm very happy about that.
Well, we do know that Reed actually can gain superpowers.
Yes, we saw that in the trailer.
Yeah.
All right. So as far as Preacher is concerned, the finale is next week. So yeah. So Sundays will be our last. God, Sundays have been so great because we cover Venture Brothers and Preacher. It honestly doesn't get better than that. So I'll be kind of bummed to see it go. But it'll be at 8:15 Pacific time live. Please join us for the finale. Let's talk about it. Let's let AMC know that we love this show and we definitely want a 4th season for sure. Predictions for Preacher finale. Horror Chick 84. without spoiling, it's kind of hard. Chick is hard to do without spoiling because they're probably going to do what they something similar to the comic. I will. Okay. Well, does anybody think Grandma's going to make it past next week's episode?
I don't. I don't think. Well, yeah, Grandma's gonna die. I believe God's gonna show up at this point. He's got to with Tulip.
Yeah. I think you might be rough girl. Yeah, I think you might be in for some sadness, possibly. I will just say that it'll look like Jesse's got his power back. Everything looks good. He basically defeated the Grail. There's not much Hairstar can do. I mean, yes, Hilter's out there possibly could have thrown a monkey wrench in this, but the Sata Killers is been sitting there listening to Sid say, "God is gone and the rules are gone."
It's the Wild West.
The Wild West. Keep that in mind. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna end. It's gonna be bittersweet. How can I keep it vague like that? It's gonna be bittersweet. Like Grandma's gonna get it, but Jesse's gonna have a loss, I think.
Actually, Mako, Grandma has willed her feet to you. So
oh, great. That's awesome. And you know what sucks is I don't have a fireplace to burn them in, so that was dark.
Yeah, it was.
What's up, Stun the Wobot? Can't stay, but I found the Ancient Aliens show. And I just want to say thank you again for putting me into another great show. Sorry to be off topic. It's okay, Stun the Wobot. We're wrapping up here. How's it going, Tim F? Why don't you thank everybody in the chat?
I was going to say one more off-topic thing.
Sure.
Jasper Seho says, sorry to be off topic, but have you gotten Dennis to give Castle Rock another chance? No, I have not given another chance because it just kind of bores me. I'm sorry. It's not my show. So I want to say thank you to Silhouetted Animator, Stun the Wombat, Mako, Tim F, Horror Chick 84, Rough Girl, Will Coy, Mary Ashmead, Jasper Seho, Robert M, the Batman. How about that? I can say it that way. Slurmy Scott, how's it going? Movie Fidobi. Who else do we have in here? Marcus Khan and Pen Farm Girl, I already said. And I know we had a couple more people in here that maybe left.
Feisty Fan was in there, right?
Feisty Fan was there, and Tarka Jedi. There we go. Everyone else, I'm stuck there. Oh, and Zoned Out Media. David Hill. I knew there was, and that is all I can scroll up to. Thank you, everyone else that I couldn't get to in the chat. Thank you for joining us tonight.
The names you saw on your screen are for our patrons. For our Patreon, we gave away those 3 comic books for the $5 level. And in the next picture that comes up, this is for the $15 level. You get the 3 comics and a representation of what is on the screen. It's like a loot crate, but it's better because it's vintage stuff. It's called the What's in the Box box. We also have a $1 tier we could just chip in. You do get some exclusive content every other week. We do a hangout. Discord is coming soon. And there'll be some other videos. I'm going to be trying out videos with you guys. Like before I'm going to start doing some more edited videos, but you guys in the Patreon will get a first crack at them to tell me if they suck or not, basically. And that's it. Yeah. So our next show will be the Nerdrotic Nooner at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, Monday. That is every Monday that happens. We also cover Better Call Saul. We are covering Castle Rock, which I am loving, by the way. And it's turned into kind of a big hit around here. And we are also covered Preacher, of course. So Dennis. Venture Brothers. Take us out, man.
Children of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
Oh, I almost forgot. And our super chats, Will Coy for $1.99, Feisty, oh God, that was bad. Feisty Fan, because I can't talk. I suck, Feisty Fan. $4.99. Dakota Stanton, $5. Mary Ashby, $2. Movie Fidobi, $1.99. Thank you for the super chats. You guys are awesome.
Exactly. Now I can say, Children of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Ciao, everybody.